Hi, Fino. I'm going to walk you through today on how to use Scratch. I'll go through the tutorial just like I am with class, and what you'll do is try to follow along and create the document with me, and then you'll upload it whenever you're finished. All right, so this is the Scratch environment, and it's set up on the far left where you see the different code blocks that they have. There's different categories that you can click on. My computer's going a little slow, by the way. Then once you click on the different sections, you've got the blocks of code that you can click and drag over into the coding area. It's taking mine a second. Give it a second to catch up. All right, you can move this code back off by just simply dragging it off. Then you have the canvas where you see the little cat. That cat is known as a sprite. Those sprites we can actually code and edit. Down at the bottom, you can see the area where all the sprites will be housed. And then at the far right corner is where you see the backdrops. Now we are going to start by making our sprite move. So first thing is you make sure that the sprite is clicked on below the canvas. And in the motion category, we're going to simply take move 10 steps. We're going to drag that over to our coding area. You'll notice that if you click the code, the cat should move 10 steps to the right. You click it again, it moves 10 steps. Click it again, it moves 10 steps. Now, if I wanted to move the sprite back, all I have to do is click on it on the canvas and drag it to the left. The next thing we're going to do is add a sound. So if you look in the category of sound, we are going to play sound meow until done. I'm going to drag that over. Now this is very similar to kind of like Legos. Once you get close to code that's already there, you'll see that it's trying to snap to it, and you do want it to connect. Now that I have the sound here, if I click, it should move 10 steps and then play the meow sound. Now let's try adding a different sound. So notice at the top left up here, I have code, costumes, and sounds. I can go to the sounds tab. At the bottom, I have a sound icon. If I hover over it, I have a couple of different choices. We're going to choose the first one that lets us choose a sound from Scratch. This comes up, and I'm going to actually go to voice category. I'll let you pick whatever you want though for yours. And I'm going to choose Laugh 3. Once I have my sound chosen, I click on it. It's going to add the sound wave to the sound tab. I can still see that meow is still here. If I go back to the code tab where it says meow, I can click that down arrow and I should now have the choice for Laugh 3, which I added. If I click the code, my sprite moves 10 steps and then I hear that sound. Also under sound, if I want to change the pitch, okay, so I'm going to take change pitch effect by 10. If I move that between my move 10 steps and playing of the sound, and let's say that I make that 10, I can click in there in that circle. Let's say that I make it 50. Now let's hear how it sounds. So now it sounds like it's a crazy cat laughing like crazy. All right. Next, let's add a little bit more movement. So if I go back to the motion category, I can take my move 10 steps, drag that and add it to my code. And instead, let's make that negative 10. So my cat should move 10 steps to the right. You hear the sound, and it should move 10 steps to the left. Now, each time I'm playing this, it keeps changing my pitch higher and higher. If I push this red stop button and then play the code again, it resets the sound so that it doesn't keep sounding crazy. All right, next, if I want this to repeat, under the control section, I can take this forever loop. I can drag it over, and it's going to pop around my entire set of code so that if I were to click this, you guessed it, you're going to hear that lovely laugh forever. And notice that it continued to change the pitch each time, so it got higher and higher and higher. I can push the stop button to stop it. Otherwise, it would keep playing forever. If we look under the looks category, we can take this say hello for 2 seconds. I can drag this over. I don't have to snap it to this other code if I don't want to. And instead of saying hello, maybe I say, here comes my crazy laugh. And maybe I want that to show for 3 seconds. So if I click that, you can see that the cat or the sprite is saying, here comes my crazy laugh. I can take that code and move it to the top of my forever loop and play the whole thing. So forth and so on, and you can click stop to stop the action. All right, now underneath events, we can take this when the flag is clicked and drag this to the top. Now we don't have to click on the code. We can click on this green flag and it will play the code for us. And then when we're ready to stop it, we simply click the stop sign and it stops the code. Now we can also make this change color. So for example, under the looks category, we can take the change color effect by 25. Notice that when you click this code, it changes to a different color. Click it, changes again. Click, it changes again. So you can have it change colors. Underneath the color category, there's different things that you can try out. There's fisheye, whirl, pixelate, mosaic, brightness, and ghost. If I chose fisheye, you can see that each time he's fisheyeing out. If I push stop, it returns him to normal. So choose one of those options in the list, whichever one you want, and then add an event to it that says when the space is pressed. So now if I were to play this and press the space bar, whenever I press the space bar, the fisheye will take effect. Until I press stop and then it resets. Now to add a backdrop, down here in the bottom right, you have your choose a backdrop option. And again, there's 4 choices, but we're going to just simply choose a backdrop from scratch. So we're going to click the bottom choice. You can pick any backdrop that you wish. I'm going to, let's see, under fantasy, I'm going to have my little dude dance in Castle 2. Once you click on your background, it adds to your page. And again, if I want to move my sprite in a different position, I can. Now, if I want to add another sprite, okay, in our area that shows our cat sprite, below our canvas, you have the choose a sprite icon. Again, there's multiple selections, but we are going to choose a sprite from scratch for this first one. So I'm going to click that button. And in this, I was showing the class how to change costumes. So when you hover over the sprite, if it does not look like it's animated, don't choose it. Okay. So pick one that looks like it is animated. I want to have this bear going back and forth. So I'm going to choose the bear. I'm going to click on it. Notice that it adds my sprite to my stage. It looks as though the code is gone. However, if I click back on my cat sprite, the code is back because we coded that sprite to do those actions. If I click on the bear sprite, he doesn't have any code there yet. All right, so if I put him there, let's say I want him a little smaller. So the size of 100, if I make that 80 and press enter, now he looks a little bit more realistic to the scene. Now to make this bear change costumes, if you'll notice the 3 tabs in the top left where it says costumes, you can see that this particular sprite has 2 different costumes. Okay, now go back to the code section. I'm going to take in the events category, when the flag is clicked, I want it to forever. So I'm going to go to the control section and drag over my forever. Then I'm going to go to the looks category and have it go to the next costume. And then under controls, I'm going to have it wait 1 second. Now you'll find that when you play that, it's probably too slow. 1 second takes a long time for him to transition there. So I might want to make that 0.5. Let's see how that looks. That's a little better. So you can change that number. The smaller it gets, the faster he'll transition. The higher that number gets, the longer it will take for him to transition. Now, if I want some sound to happen with this bear, maybe I go to the sound, I take start sound pop. I'm going to put it under when the flag is clicked, and I'm going to go find a sound that I think would be good for him. Let's see, animals. Do I see a bear? Let's see. That sounds funny. Grunt sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to choose grunt. When I go back to the code, I'm going to change that from popping to grunt. And you can see that it does it at the beginning. Now, this is a good place for me to stop for just a second and show you how to save it. In the top left, we're going to click File, Save to your computer. Now, what it does is it downloads it. It probably puts it on your Google Drive, I'm hoping. For us here at school, you can see that it puts it in our Downloads folder. All right, so here under Downloads, it's scratchproject.sb3. So it's good to save occasionally. All right, I'm going to add some other stuff to this stage. Hopefully it won't get too confusing. But I've got some other things that I wanted to show the class. So we are going to add another sprite. Now this sprite is going to be kind of like an object that you can move with your arrow keys. So I'm going to use this ladybug. All right, so here we have a ladybug. we make sure that we've clicked on the ladybug for our sprite so that we can edit the code. And this one has 4 different sets of code that we're going to drag over. So under control, under events, when the space is pressed, and I'm going to change space though to up arrow. Then I'm going to go to motion and I'm going to point in direction. And then I want it to move 10 steps. Now this point in direction of 90, I want to make that 0. Okay, so when the up arrow is pressed, it's going to point in direction 0 and move 10 steps. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing, but instead of it being the up arrow, it's going to be the down arrow. So when the down arrow is pressed, I want to point in direction of 180 and move 10 steps. All right, let's do that again. So when the left arrow is pressed, I want to point in direction -90 and move 10 steps. And then lastly, when the right arrow is pressed, I want to point in direction 90 and move 10 steps. So now if I were to actually play this and use my arrow keys, I should be able to move, and it glitched, I should be able to move that beetle around the screen using my arrow keys until I press stop. All right, let's put in another sprite. So we're going to add a sprite. This one is going to be something kind of like a ghost floating around the screen. So let's see if we can find, and I can search too for a ghost. Yeah, he's kind of weird, but I'll use him. All right, so we've got this ghost. We've clicked on it, so we're editing its code. And on this one, I want to do when the flag is clicked, I want to glide 1 second to X and Y, and I'm going to drag that same code over 2 more times. So now I want the first one to be glide 1 second to 20 by 80. On the second one, it's going to be glide 1 second from 130 to -20. And the last one's going to be glide 2 seconds from -110 to -100. Now you'll notice over here underneath the stage, we have the X and Y coordinates. So as I move my sprite around, you can see that the coordinates are moving over here. Okay, so if you're not sure where 2080 is, then you could move this around and figure out where you wanted him to glide to and type in the number. So as we play this, there he is gliding around the screen. Now we're going to go ahead and save this program real quick so that you can upload it before I show you a few more things on a second document. So go to File, Save to your computer. Now notice that this time it adds a 1 after the file name, so it's similar to Giroux. And each time you save, it puts a number. So the higher the number gets, the more current the version is. So this file, hopefully you will be able to find it when you go to your Google Drive. So looking at the classroom under assignments, there'll be a Scratch demo assignment that you're going to upload this file to, as well as the one that we're about to do. We're going to go to File, New, and it says replace the current contents. Well, I've already saved it, so I'm okay with that. So I click OK. And for this particular one, we're going to have a parrot move around the screen. So I'm going to delete this cat sprite. So I'm going to click the trash can and I'm going to add a sprite from scratch. I'm going to look in my animals and try to find that parrot. There it is. All right, so we're going to click on the parrot. Add under control, we're going to put when the flag is clicked, we want it to forever. What is my computer doing? Get over there. We want it to forever change to the next costume. And then we want it to wait 0.5 seconds. And then we're going to have it move 5 steps. And then if it's on the edge, we want it to bounce. All right, so if I click the flag, I think 0.5 is too slow. Let's change that to 0.2. And actually moving 5 steps, 10 makes him faster. All right, so notice that when he hits the edge, he turns upside down, and that's not realistic. So we're going to push stop. So if we click this direction here and these 2 center arrows, if I click one of those, all right, you're going to notice that when he hits the edge and rotates, he stays upright. Let's add another sprite. This time I'm going to use something and let it act as a button. So for example, if I look for a drum maybe. All right, here's my drums. Now I am going to go over to the control to the events, and I'm going to use when this sprite is clicked, I want something to happen. So I'm going to go to looks. I want it to change colors. Then I want it to play a sound. So I'm going to go to sound. I'm going to have it play sound until done. And then I'm going to have it change color again. So change color. Now let's see what the sound is that they have chosen with this drum. Okay, sounds pretty good. So when I test this out by clicking the green flag, every time I click that drum with my mouse, it changes color and it plays that drum sound. So it kind of acts like a button. All right, the last thing today I'm going to show you is to have something follow your mouse. So let's add one last sprite, whichever one you want. I'm going to do a little crab. All right, the code I'm going to add to my crab is when the flag is clicked, I want it to forever point towards my mouse pointer and move 3 steps. All right, so if I do my flag, as I move my mouse around the screen, you'll see that the crab is following it. My bird's flying back and forth, and my drum is playing. Now, if the crab ever meets the mouse, it kind of sits there and it goes back and forth and looks kind of crazy. All right, so you're going to save this document as well and upload it. So File, Save to your computer. This is my Scratch project 2, and you would also upload that to the Scratch demo. There'll be 2 files that you upload there. Hopefully this has all made sense today. I know I've kind of flown through that, but this is an intro into Scratch. And what I want you to do next is you're going to actually take some pictures of yourself. Take at least 6 pictures in sequenced dance poses. All right. So in other words, I'm just going to show you an example of kind of what you're looking for. Let's see. All right, this particular dude here, okay, let's pretend if that were a picture of you. If I look under costumes, you'll see that he's in different poses. Now, if I animate this, it's going to make it look like he's actually dancing. So if I were to animate it, it looks like he's actually going through and doing a dance. So you think of a dance that you want to do, have someone take a picture of you in at least 6 poses, and they'll be kind of sequenced. You know, your first move, then moving to the next one, moving to the next one, moving to the next one, and they'll just be a still photo of you. It's best if you can get like a solid background behind you that is not the same color as your clothes. Okay, so it would be better if you had a different colored background than the color of the clothes you're wearing. Because after you take the pictures, I'm going to show y'all how to remove the background, and you're going to actually do a project where you make yourself dance in Scratch. So I look forward to having you back in class, and I will send you more stuff as needed as you are home until you come back. Bye.